Why, hello and welcome back to all of my fans, my friends, and all of my brothers, my fellow FTFLers, to the longest running weekly episodic fantasy football show out there. That is right, boys and girls. It is time once again for us to gather around the fire. It is time once again for us to sit down at the computer, by the way, and week after week submit our lineups. That's right, I'm looking at you, Peter Vinci. It is time once again for us to renew old rivalries and create new memories, because the long, arduous summer of our misery has come to a close. And it is time once again for the FTFL Weekly Update. Now, not only am I the host of this award-winning show, not only am I the owner of the Hulkamaniacs, and by the way, let us take a moment to honor the namesake. May he rest in peace. Join with me now, moment of silence for the legendary Hulk Hogan. Thank you. And not only all of that, but also the two-time league champion. It is I, Brett Sieber, host of the FTFL Weekly Update. And did you know that today marks the beginning of not the first, not the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, or ninth? It is the beginning of the 10th season of the FTFL Weekly Update. I promise you this year we are going to have special guests. We are going to revisit classic moments of FTFL Weekly Updates past. And of course, get down to the business of covering the amazing fantasy football league that is the Frozen Tundra Football League. All of that is coming soon. For now, tonight, we focus on the draft. A couple weeks ago, we descended upon Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, and boy, oh boy, was it an amazing weekend had by all, outside of maybe the golf outing, which probably most of us, let's be honest, could have done without. Besides that, there was amazing pizza. Woo! There was all sorts of just laughing and hollering. Sure, maybe some of that was induced by some of the moonshine that a couple individuals partook in. Again, apologies to Katie for us drinking most of what you had on hand. You know what? Things got a little crazy. We had a lot of fun. It was amazing. But then, of course, the main event, Saturday night, we sat down to have the annual FTFL draft, and it did not disappoint. Now, what I've compiled here is a list. My top 10 moments from the 2025 FTFL draft. Are you ready? Buckle up your seatbelts, because here we go. Number 10, no John. And I put that at number 10 because a lot of us are like, yeah, guess what? Oh, ho hum. John hasn't really ever been there, or hasn't been there long enough for most of us to remember what he looks like. Some people in the league, Peter, haven't even drafted with John in person ever. I mean, it has been over a decade, which leads me to the question. I know last year I was all in on getting John back to the championship, make the FTFL great again. It didn't work. It fell flat. And I'm starting to think that maybe there are other things here at play besides just John being terrible at fantasy football. What if, now hear me out, what if John Linkowitz isn't even alive anymore? Like, how would we know? Someone could easily be sending texts on his behalf. Someone could easily be going into the fantasy football website and submitting lineups for him. Clearly, whoever's doing that should be doing Peter's as well. I would even go as far as say someone could have been on the phone that night, acting as John, grunting the way he did. Who knows? But I tell you this, by the end of the season, we will know the whereabouts of John Linkowitz. I have assigned the top FTFL Weekly Update reporter to the case. Keep your eye out, because we will get to the bottom, and we will find out where in the world is John Linkowitz. That was number 10. Number 9, Cam taking to the message board upon the absence of his father to call his dad a bum. I think most of us could agree Andy is indeed a bum. Number 8, we have an audio clip here. Number 8, go ahead. Loved hearing this song, basically on repeat all night. Every time it got played, Matt basically Weekend at Bernie's himself back into life. Got up, took a poll, did a dance. Man, oh man, this song has been living rent-free in my head since the draft. Love it. Thank you. Woo! The roof on fire. Yeah. That was number 8, Fireball. Number 7. The power went out. Now, of course, for some of us, maybe that's the one thing you remember, but no. Like, Andy set up some hot spots. We were able to make it work, but it was a very odd scene down there by LED candlelight, drafting in the dark at Andy's house. We almost went to the doctors, and we didn't. Andy got irate because at one point he said there was only 2 people in the entire power network that were out, one of us being the house we were in. But that was kind of fun. Number 6. John drafting 9 rookies now, or John drafting 9 rookies. Now, I know this has kind of been John's MO over the year, and if you were to get John in a room, which would be a feat unto itself, and I want to know how you did it, but you asked him about Calvin Johnson, his face would light up, and he would tell you how he saw the talent in that young man and how he coached up that young man into the Hall of Famer that he became. I mean, and John will take credit for all of that. So I don't know if John's just out there looking for the next Calvin Johnson. I don't know if John is just, has a hunch, or if John just likes to really get after Adam Saltmarsh, because number 5 on the list was Salty Soul leaving not once but twice that night. Now, the first one was when the power went out. We were, after our first round, the power goes out, and Salty's like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I can't do anything. You might as well put me on auto. I'm done. He basically had quit. And then the hot spots came, and then everything was fine again. And then fast forward to whatever round 11 or 12 when John drafted his 7th rookie, and the line that I'm still chuckling to this day over is Salty just going, that's it. I quit. I'm quitting right now. Like, he was done. He was done for the second time in one night. Peter marked it. His soul left his body not once but twice. But then, even better yet, was the following round when John drafted yet another rookie. And Swart looked at him and said, I think he's calling your bluff. Oh my gosh. Like, I couldn't have written a sitcom episode about a bunch of friends, and I know the league exists, I know, but like, that was picture perfect. That's exactly how I would have written that. That was outstanding. And speaking of Swart, by the way, number 4 on this list, when he even fooled himself with his new team name, Linkowitz, same helmet. I mean, stroke of brilliance throughout the night. Multiple people confusing Swartz for John's team. But then even Swart sitting around going, well, it's not my turn to draft. It's Linkowitz's turn. Someone then having to say, hey, idiot, you're Linkowitz. God, that was magical, outstanding. Here we are now, the top 3. Number 3 coming in, the Bijan Robinson trade. My first, my third, a conditional pick next year. Salty's entrance fee if I win for Bijan Robinson, and Saltmarsh's 4th this year. Now, when it got announced, Eric seemed a bit shocked, and then he was crabby about having to enter all the things into the website, of course, which became even more difficult a few minutes later when the whole thing crashed. But lucky for all of you, while we were in the car and that deal was being negotiated, Peter Vinci had the foresight to hit the record button. So I'm going to go ahead and play this now. I'm going to show you what happened in the car that led to the Bijan Robinson trade.
Okay,
multiple times. And I am okay with the counter.
No.
It's all right. So what is it? First?
Okay. It's my 1st and 3rd this year.
Yep.
For Bijan in your 4th. And next year, if he's a top 5 back, you get my 2nd. If it's 6 to 10, you get my 3rd. Anything after that is my 4th. We're recording. Is that what's going on here? Okay, anything after that is my 4th. And if in the likely scenario of I win the league, then...
Did you say likely or unlikely?
I said likely.
Oh,
then it's $50. I will pay your fee.
When do you get him?
Dude, when my pick is up in the draft, pick 6, Eric will be forced to announce in that moment there has been a trade.
I just want to know. And you're the 5th pick.
6th pick.
God, if you were 5th, I would have done it. But look, I'm going to think.
The recording.
Hey, just let me ponder here.
You've been pondering. I've already acquiesced to multiple things in this deal.
too.
The very original deal you almost said yes to wasn't even half of what I'm giving you now.
I know, that's pretty
And so
generous.
here I am. Are you okay? You look like you're having a heart attack.
I'm literally like, what the problem, Salty?
He's pledging
You need
allegiance
to
up
you
here.
need to take this.
And I'm like, he's having a heart attack.
I don't know.
You have to take this.
You offered, and now you're
It
going
is-
back with the hand's gone.
And
Now we get to see. Now we've all got a Salty trade over the computer screen. Now
we have. Now we know what actually
what's
happens.
going on while he's doing this.
Watch out,
Look.
guys. Whoop.
Hey!
Done.
Good job, guys.
All right. Well, I'm super glad you got to see that. You know, and again, that moment where you could see Peter's elbow and you hear me ask him if he was having a heart attack. Here's the deal. His arm was like this. His hand was on the wheel, straight faced. I was concerned. I mean, Peter's a dear friend of mine, and oh, by the way, was also driving the vehicle. And if something were to happen to him and we're careening off into the ditch, I don't have any control over that situation. So I wanted to make sure that everything was fine. Thank goodness it was. And thank goodness he hit record, because we got to watch potentially the makings of a historic moment in FTFL history. I mean, probably won't quite be as catastrophic as the time I traded a second-round pick for Drew Brees, which, of course, rightfully so, is on the toilet seat, because what a god-awful trade for the greatest player in FTFL history, a second-round pick. Wow, what a steep price. That's right, 10 years in to this show, and I'm still pissed about that. Lives right below the surface. But you know what? We need to move on. I need to move on. We're going to move on. That was number 3. Number 2, I think it's been long enough. Let's cue the music. I'll be honest, I didn't even know this song existed until draft weekend. But we were sitting there in the dark, and it's silent, and all of a sudden, the music fires up. And sure enough, Matt kind of pops up, and he starts dancing, and then he walks his way over, grabs a fireball, he takes a pull, he rubs his ass all over me, hands it to me, I take a pull. It was magic. It'll be in my head forever. Love it. I love it. And oh, by the way, that's not the last time you're going to hear that song this year on the FTFL Weekly Update, because let me get to number 1 on the list. Early August, keepers were due. As we all now know, Peter failed to get his keepers in. Eric went to the league. Hey, what do we do about this? We all were like, nah, you missed it. It's a deadline. Peter, of course, tried, which, I mean, I probably would have done the same in his situation. Ultimately, it was Eric that said, listen, you missed the deadline. No keepers. Of course, salt in the wound. Peter didn't even have a first-round pick. So then Peter enters the draft with all sorts of question marks and concerns. And how is this going to play out? I'll tell you how it played out. At pick 2, the man who told him, sorry, you lose, drafted Amon-Ra St. Brown. And then 2 picks later at pick 4, the man, that's right, that told Peter, sorry, today is not your day either, drafted Run CMC Christian McCaffrey, both of which, as you know, would have been Peter's keepers. So the man that told Peter, no keepers for you, promptly then asked Peter to pass the salt and pepper, a.k.a. the Amon-Ra and the CMC. Pass them on over this way, son. I think I'm going to throw them on my plate and see how they look over here. Eric, drafting the guys that Peter couldn't keep was, I mean, if I was writing a show, an episode about a bunch of friends sitting in the league, that's the kind of stuff that was, again, kind of like John, or calling Salty's bluff, just pure magic. Now, oddly enough, as a side note, I haven't even talked about how we did vote for the Cringy Award. And of course, everyone thought slam dunk, runaway, it's not even going to be close. Jeff Markser lost 14 games in a row. In a row! He won 2 games all year. And that somehow did not net him the Cringy. No. For the 3rd straight year in a row, that award went to its namesake, one Peter Vingy. Now, again, for not submitting a lineup, and we all know this time it didn't necessarily hurt him, it hurt Saltmarsh. I don't want to get into it, Saltmarsh. Hopefully you're taking your blood pressure meds. I don't need you blowing a gasket before the season's even started. But for the 3rd straight year in a row, Peter's name is on the toilet seat, and let's be clear, it's going to take something real fascinating to keep him from being a four-peat after failing to submit his keepers. We are. Just like we're going to try to get to the bottom of where in the world is John Linkowitz on the FTFL Weekly Update this year, we are going to track Peter's success. Is it dumpster fire? Is it fireball? or somewhere in between, week after week. We'll be tracking that. More to come next week on that. Speaking of next week, before I say goodbye, let's get to the games that are going to kick this season off, and here we go. The Hulkamaniacs taking on the Pack Attack. Hulkamaniacs hold a 17-14-4 tie edge over Eric in the all-time series. My hotspot, not my hotspot, Jeff Markser, his hotspot, taking on, I may suck at fantasy football, but at least I got my keepers in. And again, that's not me. I got my keepers in. I don't suck at fantasy football. I am the two-time league champ. This decade, by the way, a first, a second, and a third, as I try to stake my case for GM of the decade. Jeff holds a 17-10 all-time series record over Matt. Mixing Cocktails taking on the Valhalla Vandals. Andy actually has a losing record, 3-4 versus Peter over the years. Team Linkowitz coming in, taking on the Radioactive Monkeys. Adam Swart, which by the way is Team Linkowitz. Haha, didn't get me. How many times am I going to get fooled by that this year? Maybe we'll have the Linkowitz old meter behind me too. Swart holds a 13-12 edge over the other Adam in the league. And the final game, John Dickweed Linkowitz taking on Make America Great Again. John 11-18 all time against Sid. I'm surprised it's actually even that many wins. And there you have it. The draft recap is in the book. The FTFL weekly update is back. And so is football tomorrow night. Eagles Cowboys. The long wait is over. Say it with me. I love football. I love all you guys. Until next week, we'll catch you on the flippity flip. Peace!